Jupiter. Say that for me. Jupiter. What does this word Jupiter imply by its mere, the way in which it's written, the way in which it's spelled? What is the root of this word Jupiter? No. Pitter. What does this word pitter mean? From the Sanskrit pitter, which comes into the English as pitter and becomes today father. The very word pitter is the word father. Latin, the Sanskrit uses it as pitter, because remember, English is a part of what they call the Indo-European languages. So we have a lot of East Indian or Sanskrit roots in this language. French is also in this language by way of the Teutonic peoples. And the French, you know French words because you keep hearing je. Language, garage, porridge. Those are French words because that je sound lets you know its origin or its etymology is coming out of the Teutonic peoples or the Gaelic people of France. Back here. So Pitter, father. Whose father? The Jewish father. That's what it's telling you. Now, wait, what do you mean, Rev? I don't get it. Well, describe Zeus. Because Jupiter is an interpretation of Zeus. When you go online, you look up Zeus, you go to the library or online encyclopedia, you look up Zeus in the images. Zeus sits on a throne. He's surrounded by his wives and his children. He has long flowing golden locks. And I don't mean locks like locks, I mean like limp hair, right? And he is the actual image that we've been taught to worship. I said, no, I don't worship Zeus. Let's tell me some names of the books in the New Testament and tell me if the Greeks have any influence on this Bible. Is there a book of Corinthians? Anyone knows where Corinth was? It was a Greek city-state. Is there a book of Galatia? Galatia was a Greek city-state. Is there a book of Ephesus? Ephesia is a Greek city-state. Is there a book of Thessalonians? Thessaly was one of the capitals of Greece. Why are we, as Melaninite people, and I'm not saying there's no truth in those books, Thessalonians, Corinthians, etc. What I'm saying is, why are we as Melaninite people, Nubian people, Caribbean people, Latino people, African American, Black, Negro, homeboy, homegirl, why are we identifying solely with the interpretations of obviously Greek influence too? And if you question it, you're made to feel as if you are doubting something that's so holy, unadulterated, perfect. How could you dare doubt what King James said? I mean, how dare you? So this Jupiter had an influence here. So much so that when Paul, according to the Bible, we'll go to it next, and Barnabas went out teaching, the people said the gods have come down. They called Paul Mars or Mercuthius, and I'll show you it there, and they called Barnabas Jupiter. Anybody doubt him? You're supposed to say heck yeah. Say heck yeah. No, say it again. Let me tell you why. Any person who stands before you and tells you don't doubt me, watch that person. Doubt me. Why shouldn't you? You should say, show us that.
I'm from Missouri. Show me.
There you go. All right. Let's go. Let's go to the book of Acts. I want to read something and we're going to get back to Jupiter. All right? Fair enough? Go to Acts chapter 14. For those who have a pen and paper, please write it down. Acts chapter 14. How many people have a Bible? I need some help reading. If not, my voice will leave. Okay, so Acts chapter 14. And there's a reason we're doing this. Because as we're talking, I'm going to tell you at some point we're going to shift. And then I'm going to tell you about the original tribes. And how those names like Reuben, and Simon, and Benjamin, and Naphtali are original names, but a split took place. Fair enough? And I'm going to show you where the split took place right in this Bible. Fair enough? So that when you walk out of here, you will at least understand that you and I are no longer to be in a position where we accept being considered the Gentile, the converted. We were the teachers. We were the originators. And that's not to hate anybody. I'm not into hating the white man. Don't have time for that. I'm more interested in studying his technology and his abilities and trying to figure out how we can replicate it to get ourselves on our feet. Fair enough? All right, we're in Acts chapter 14. Let's go to Acts 14:11, please. Actually, let's start at 8. And there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, couldn't walk, being a cripple, from his mother's womb, who never had walked. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him and perceiving that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, Stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped up and walked. He doesn't have up. And he leaped and walked. And when the people saw, let's read this with me, please. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, The gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. And they called Barnabas Jupiter, and Paul Mercurius, or Mercury. So are the Greek gods mentioned in this Bible? But somewhere along the line, we as pastors and reverends and imams and maharajis or whatever titles, everybody has a title nowadays, no one took the moment to say, well, how did this slip in? And these people are considered good people, because later on we have Ephesians, Thessalonians. But when these people were looking at the teachings of the original Messiah, and I'm going to stress original Messiah. Say original Messiah, who was an African. I'm going to tell you why. Then we're going to jump back here. According to the so-called scholars, what was Jesus' background? What was his religion? Jewish. What they say. Right? They say what you believe, but what they say. He was Jewish, right? And what language did he speak? Hebrew. Okay. According to them, right? And as a person who spoke Hebrew, he did not call himself Jesus, because that wasn't Hebrew. So what did he call himself? Yeshua. Say it again. Yeshua. And normally a name describes the individual, right? And when you look at a word, the root of that word tells you where that individual or where that word's origin comes from. Like we said, Pitter, we knew Pitter, goes back to Sanskrit, we can find it, right? So the root of the word Yeshua, say that name. Yeshua. Is that a Hebrew root or is it an African root? African. How? Yeshua. Shu. The name Shu is in the middle of his name. What's his name? You mean like shoe? No, not that kind of shoe. Like shoe, like shoe a fly. The wind that you use to push a fly away. Well, Shu was one of the ancient angelic families out of ancient Africa. I didn't say Egypt. I hate when people say, well, out of Egypt. As an African, Egypt is one little small place on the continent of Africa. You follow? Which today, northern Egypt has mostly been Arabicized and invaded by East Indians. You as African people, this doctrine or these teachings were all around the continent of what we call Africa today. So, Yeshua, if we're talking roots, Yah-Shu-ah, this name here, which in the Hebrew, right, they do this. Shua. That name Shu is an angelic family. See, the trick is they'll tell you and me the Egyptian gods. Say that. What does that make you feel as a Christian, as a Muslim, as a Hebrew when you hear Egyptian gods? Before you woke up, or before you're being woken up. Say it again. Hey, we all saw Charleston Heston, the 10 Commandments, right? How many people saw it in your life? Don't front. I ain't asking you to now sit here and say you like it, but when you were little, don't front. When the Israelites, according to that story, were leaving, that was your favorite part, the water part. I'm going to tell you to say that, right? You couldn't wait. Come on, you're drowning. You're going to drown. Here we go. Yeah, part the water. Come on. Yeah, that's from God. True? How many people watch the what's it called? Jesus, every year.
Passion of Christ.
Passion of Christ when you were little. Don't front that you didn't have a tear in your eye when they were there. Father, it is over. I don't care how much no. Let me tell you why. If we're honest, we have to be able, we cannot lie to ourselves. We can't come out from being miseducated if we keep wanting to pretend for the sake of everybody around. No, I was perfect. I was born out of this egg and it just hatched. No one ever indoctrinated. We've all been indoctrinated in this life. So we understand, or we now see that Jupiter, Zeus, these names are there. Now we say Greco-Roman, say Greco-Roman. So Greco-Roman implies what? Greece and Rome. So this is a combination of Greek doctrines and Roman doctrines. The high god of Rome, Jupiter. High god of Greece, Zeus. Now put them together. Jesus. I didn't say there's not a real Messiah. So I want you walking out of here and say, I hear no reverend blasphemous speaking against me. No. I said that the guy that they have put up on their cross, and notice I said their cross. Now if I said their cross, what am I implying? No. If there's their cross, then there must also be our cross. Did we have a cross?
No.
We had enough. This symbol here. Don't ask me to draw it any better. Okay? We had an we had a symbol. And this symbol describes something. Self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice. With that in mind, was Dr. Martin Luther King a person who self-sacrificed?
Yes.
Sojourner Truth, self-sacrifice.
Yes.
Marcus Garvey,
Yes.
Malcolm X,
Yes.
Madiba, Nelson Mandela,
Yes.
Sekou Toure, Amadou Ahidjo, these are names from Africa, right? I'm gonna name everybody, I touch everyone. Schomburg,
Yes.
Pedro Campos, and a bunch of people in our neighborhoods, our grandma, right? Because grandma sacrificed a lot for most of us, right? She made sure it may not have been no food. She took whatever was there. She made something. You said, Grandma, you're not going to eat. Oh, baby, I'm full. And she didn't even eat anything. Self-sacrificing nature. Okay? All right. So now, with that in mind, let's talk about these 12 tribes. Tell me some of the names of the 12 tribes. Dan. Go ahead. Reuben, Levi, Naphtali. Any other names? Benjamin. Go ahead. Asher. Any other names? Manasseh. Anything else? Zebulon. Anything else?
Judah.
Who?
Judah.
Judah. That's my favorite. Go ahead. Anything else? Who? Gad. Simeon. Benjamin. And your great-great-great-grandfather? No. Your great-great-great-grandfather. What's his name? No. You. Your great-great-great-grandfather.
Ezekiel.
Okay. What about yours? What about yours?
Reuben.
Your great-great-great-grandfather's name is Reuben. Your great-great-great-grandmother. Not you, cousins. That's what I say. Yours? How many people don't know their great-great-great-grandmother?
Great.
That was the reason I was trying to do it. We know all these names of people we never met. I didn't say they didn't exist, so please don't call me a blasphemer yet. But we know all these names of all these people we've never met. But the people directly responsible for us being here, their names we don't know. If I said to you, name 12 African tribes, don't yell it out. Could you do it? Think to yourself. Don't answer me. Answer yourself. I can lie to myself, right? Right? I can lie to myself, right? No, I can't lie to myself. Okay. So, could you name 12 African tribes? If your life depended on it?
None.
How many say no? I'm not going to look. Okay. But yet, how many of us, when we get mad at the job, these white people, these original people, you know what I'm saying, they came to us. How many of us have ever thought that? Come on. Right? Isn't that a little bit?
Yeah.
How many of us, I'm a little older, it's most of you in this room, but those of us who are in our 30s or whatever, how many remember the apartheid situation in South Africa? How many of us were at that time saying don't support anything from South Africa because they got it? How many of us was like that, right? Right? And they got to free our brothers and sisters in South Africa, right? President of South Africa today, what's his name?
Nelson Mandela.
No.
Zuma. Joseph Zuma. But here's the point. So we were only interested for the moment. See, we cannot get angry at anyone if we don't take an interest in who and what we are. We have to take an interest in who we are, and that interest has to last a lifetime. It cannot be for the moment. It cannot be a fad, because fade is exactly what it sounds like. It's just for the moment, and when that moment passes, what happens? Right back to the same thing. That's the situation that we, or those of the diaspora, find ourselves in. Now, let's look at these names of these tribes. You have a pen and paper? We're going to go through these tribes. How many tribes, according to the Bible, were there, for that matter?
13, wasn't it?
Well, one place says 13, one place says 12, one says 14, another, depending where you read. One place says 70. Go to Exodus. I see that look. Let's go to Exodus, please. No, you didn't. My job. If you hear stuff you didn't hear. Exodus chapter 1. You got it? No? Okay, take your time. Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, that's one, right? Simon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 7. So now I'm even further confused. Because you taught me there was only 12. Now, but what do these names say to us? Because again, we're talking about the root of a word, right? The first name we found there was what? Reuben. Say it again. Reuben. Reuben. Is this word, Reuben, is it an African word, or a Hebrew word, or an English word? Let's take some guesses.
English.
Say what you see, not what you've been taught to say. Is this word here African in origin? Ben, obelisk. It doesn't mean son. That's what the Hebrews said it meant. But this word existed before Hebrew. Because the obelisk of Aksum, Ethiopia, was there before, quote unquote, Abraham. How do you know? When Abraham had famine in the land of Canaan, where did he go? Where did he go? He's going to say Egypt. I told you about that. Because every time you say Egypt, you sound pagan, because Egypt has been ingrained in us to think pagan, no matter how you cut it. Africa. He went down to Africa. Was Abraham an African?
Yes.
He's from Ur, right? His father's name was what? Terah. What land did they live in? Ur of Chaldees. Who was the ruler in that land? According to the Bible, Genesis chapter 10. Say his name. Nimrod. the mighty hunter before the Lord. Genesis 10. And Nimrod was the son of
Kush.
Cush. What does Cush mean, y'all?
Black.
Black. Cush is what country, y'all? Ethiopia. So Nimrod's father's name, Cush, means Ethiopian. And Cush was the son of Ham. And Ham means Kemet, black. So what was Nimrod?
Black.
No, what kind of black person? An African.